So now this problem says solve for theta. So this means we're going to find every solution here. So that's the idea for this one. So we're not going to just say from 0 to 2 pi. We're going to find them all. And that's easy enough to show as we go through this. So anyways, the first thing I notice here is I have this 5 sine of theta on the other side. This tells me I got to move it over to the other side here. The reason why is because I have a squared here. Anytime I see a squared in there, essentially I'm going to move everything over to the same side and my mind goes right to factoring right away. So this is what we're going to try. And this doesn't always work, but this is usually the case. So now I'm going to subtract, 5 sine of theta from both sides. Now I can't add those together or subtract these together here because one's a squared, one's not. So they're what we call not like terms. So that's the idea we're using here. So all I can really do is write it this way, 2 sine squared of theta minus 5 sine of theta plus 3 equals 0. So now that I have it in this form, I can actually do my factoring. Now notice what I did here. I put the squared term first, the single term first, and then the number on the end. This is just a general format when I have different powers. I just write it in, they call that descending powers. So now the way I look at this problem is, I look at this as 2x squared minus 5x plus 3 equals 0. Now this is what we call a trinomial. And how do I factor a trinomial? Do you guys remember how to do that? Okay, so we can either use trial and error. Remember, I can call it 2x here. Over here is just going to be an x. And then I'm thinking here, that's a 3 on the end here. So one's got to be a 3 or a 1, or a 1 or a 3. So I'm just going to pick one. There's a 3, there's a 1. And notice the middle term is negative. So that tells me that my signs have to be negative. This is a positive here, so that tells me the signs have to be the same because a negative times a negative is positive and a positive times a positive is positive. So I'm going to put minuses here, and I'm going to check that and see if it works. And then this is going to give me a 2x squared. This is going to give me a minus 2x. That's going to give me a minus 3x, and that's going to give me a positive 3. So that actually works. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use this idea for this problem. So now I would say that this equals 0, wouldn't I? So now all I'm going to do is use this same idea for my problem. So that's going to be 2 sine squared theta. I should say 2 sine of theta minus 3 and sine of theta minus 1 equals 0. Now, as you can see, instead of x, I put sine of theta because I'm talking about my problem from up here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do from here is I have this times here. So that simply means either this is going to be 0 or this is going to be 0. And we follow that same pattern like we did for the previous problem. So now all I'm going to do is set those both up. So now on the first one, I'm just solving for sine of theta. And this is kind of how we start these. So I'm going to add 3. So this is going to be 2 sine of theta equals 3. Then I'm going to divide by 2. So I'm really looking for the sine of theta equaling 3/2. So when we look at the sine of theta equaling 3/2, that is not possible because the sine of theta can be at most 1. So this would be, would I say impossible, or no theta, or no solution. That's what I'll write. Oops. Okay, let's work on the next piece now. So for this piece, sine of theta, I need to add 1. So this is going to be the sine of theta equals 1. And again, I just draw my unit circle idea here, and this is all students take calc. And I don't really need that here because I'm talking about the number 1. And I'm just looking, where is sine 1 at? And sine is 1 here, and that's at pi halves. And sine is also down here, which is 3 pi halves. Oh, no, that's not 1, though. Let me take that back. That's actually negative 1. It's only this one here at pi halves. So my answer for theta here would equal pi halves. So now when I look at my answers, that is my only answer for all of these. Now keep in mind here, I need to generate all the answers because it just said solve for theta in the beginning here. So that means I have to write every answer pi halves. So now keep in mind what this means. So I know this here is one of my answers. So that means when I go all the way around, that's going to also be an answer. When I do it again, from there I go around again, that's also going to be an answer. And I can even go in the backwards direction. So if I want to write every solution, I'm going to write theta equals pi over 2 plus 2 pi k. And this here would be the answer for every possible solution for theta here.